The usual optimism that comes with a new year did not last long in 2020. Between the potential threat of a world war, fueled by the Iran-United States conflict, and the actual threat of a coronavirus, the past few months have been tense. These are scary times, and the internet seems to be filled with rumors and misinformation, and no small amount of pearl-clutching. Let's clear up the first misconception. The coronavirus is not called COVID-19. Instead, COVID-19 is the name of the disease caused by the virus. That virus has been dubbed SARS-CoV-2, Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus 2. Think of it like AIDS and HIV. AIDS is the name of the disease. HIV is the virus that causes AIDS. Dissimilar to our past Wuhan influenza records, we will keep things somewhat lighter here. We'll zero in on the inquisitive side of the infection and the illness, including some intriguing subtleties we haven't covered at this point. 10. The Corona beer brand was damaged. Discussion about misfortune. The Corona lager logo has a crown on it. Corona signifies crown in Spanish and Latin. Fortuitously, the COVID got its name from the crown-like spikes on the outside of the infection particles. At the point when a few people initially found out about the new infection, they were befuddled and may have related it with the Corona lager brand. They may have even accepted that the infection was spread by drinking the lager. It is hazy the amount of an effect this mixed-up conviction has had on deals of the lager, as different sources have announced various outcomes. 09. The whistleblower scientist was killed by COVID-19. It's practically like the COVID is attempting to kill any observers. In an agitating incongruity, Li Wenliang kicked a bucket after contracting COVID-19. Li, a Chinese specialist who worked at Wuhan Central Hospital, was known for being vocal about the perils of this arising infection. At any rate as ahead of schedule as December 30, 2019. Li cautioned individual surgeons about the chance of an episode. The Chinese police encouraged him to quit, offering bogus remarks, in an administration endeavor to hide the circumstance where no one will think to look. After Li's terrible demise, a major piece of the Chinese populace was naturally vexed. This pushed the hashtags Wuhan government owes Dr. Li Wenliang a statement of regret and we need the right to speak freely of discourse to drift on Weibo, a Chinese online media webpage. The Chinese government rushed to edit both hashtags. This most recent discussion just adds fuel to the troublesome connection between Chinese specialists and their populace. In 2019, the strain between Territory China and Hong Kong arrived at a limit because of opposition from Hong Kong against the public authorities' arrangements. 08. The coronavirus is deadlier for men. Chinese researchers have discovered that people are similarly prone to be tainted by the COVID. Yet, fatalities in China have happened at a pace of 2.8% for men contrasted with 1.7% for ladies, recommending that men are bound to pass on when tainted. Remember that these measurements may downplay the pace of disease in the two gatherings, so these rates could be overhauled with new data. As of now, the most likely explanation behind the sexual orientation contrast can be credited to something that researchers definitely knew: the female insusceptible reaction is more grounded than that of guys. Despite the fact that the specific purpose behind this is as yet unclear, it is accepted to be connected to either more significant levels of estrogen hormone in ladies or the way that every lady has two X chromosomes rather than a man's one X chromosome. The two elements add to insusceptibility. This sexual orientation contrast could happen for developmental reasons, as ladies need to stay solid for delayed occasions to enjoy youngsters and sustain them. 07. COVID-19 has already killed more people than SARS. As of this composition, we are around a quarter of a year into this new plague. Is there any genuine purpose behind frenzy? From the outset, it appears to be that there may be. From an outright perspective, Wuhan influenza has just executed a bigger number of individuals than SARS, extreme intense respiratory disorder, which was brought about by another strain of COVID in the mid-2000s. In any case, the rates recount an alternate story. As of this composition, 101,906 individuals have contracted COVID-19 and 3,465 have kicked the bucket of it. Then again, 8,098 individuals turned out to be sick with SARS and 774 died. Up until now, the general passing rate from COVID-19 seems by all accounts to be 3.4%, while the casualty rate from SARS was an incredible 9.6%. Obviously, any passings from COVID-19 are too much. Yet, a significant concern with respect to this illness is the means by which effectively and subtly it can spread. In the event that you're inside 1.8 meters (6 feet) of a contaminated individual, you are viewed as in danger. That makes any tram a likely problem area for pollution. Moreover, it can take as long as about 14 days for an individual to create side effects. That makes this new infection nearly as simple to contract as the regular bug, yet COVID-19 is unmistakably more deadly. 06. The coronavirus may also kill the global economy in 2020. The worldwide economy acts fairly like a living being, and it began 2020 with a terrible bug. As per the World Bank, the underlying projections for worldwide development in 2020 were 2.5%, somewhat over the post-emergency low recorded in 2019. To exacerbate the situation, the COVID plague is influencing China, one of the most remarkable economies on the planet. As per a February 2020 Reuters survey of financial analysts in China, their country's yearly monetary development in the primary quarter of 2020 is relied upon to decrease to 4.5% from around 6.0% in the past quarter. A lot of this is because of the flare-up, and it's required to influence us all. In any case, these financial analysts anticipate that monetary development could bounce back rather rapidly if the episode is viably contained. By what means can this scourge hurt the economy so drastically? All things considered, individuals are significantly less slanted to travel and utilize different administrations as of now since they fear being presented to the infection. Notwithstanding, we ought to anticipate that an expansion in memberships should Netflix and other streaming stages as individuals marathon watch shows while stowing away in their homes. 05. Some people believe that the coronavirus is a bioweapon going rogue. Where there is the internet, there are paranoid ideas. The COVID-19 scourge has been taken care of in a shockingly experienced manner by individuals on the internet aside from an image or two. Nonetheless, the flood of new cases outside Wuhan, particularly in South Korea and Italy, has driven a few people to be dubious. The strange passing of the informant didn't help by the same token. These hypotheses are false, despite the fact that they absolutely have pulled in the consideration of numerous individuals. As per one hypothesis, China designed the COVID as a weapon. The infection was then delivered to make space for horticultural extension. Indeed, even government officials appear to have scheme fever. U.S. Senator Tom Cotton likewise blamed the Chinese government for injustice. 04. Like everything else, the virus has become an issue of racism and politics. Wuhan influenza isn't the main flare-up that started in China. Famously, SARS and the Asian influenza additionally began there, on top of the dread and vulnerability produced by this new plague. Asians need to manage bigotry and xenophobia against Chinese assumption has been developing in the previous 2 months. These responses are maybe justifiable yet unquestionably not sensible. The vast majority of the spread to different countries is because of non-Asians visiting China and getting back to their nations instead of the reverse way around. 03. You are not immune even after surviving the first encounter with the coronavirus. Would lightning be able to strike a similar spot twice? All things considered, indeed. That is the general purpose of flood arresters. Sadly, with regards to the COVID, a similar rule applies. Suppose you got the infection and had the option to skip back. You are fine, correct? Actually no, not generally. As of late, a Japanese lady was determined to have COVID-19 for the subsequent time. The lady is a visit transport director in Osaka, which makes her all the more effectively presented to disease because of the quantity of individuals with whom she associates. That news is horrid in light of the fact that it increases the possible effect of the sickness. Besides, it makes the improvement of a compelling antibody less practical. Researchers are as yet attempting to sort out how the COVID can contaminate a similar individual twice, or if there is another clarification for the twofold certain outcomes. 02. Did it all start with bats, snakes, or even pangolins? Now, numerous individuals have found out about the most likely source of the COVID, bats. China has gained notoriety for having a particular nearby food, as wild creatures can be purchased at open-air showcases and eaten. One local delicacy incorporates a supposedly heavenly, and very unpleasant, bat soup. Researchers are right now attempting to figure out which creature is liable for communicating the infection to people, yet they are as yet uncertain. Two other potential guilty parties incorporate snakes and pangolins. In case you're new to pangolins, they are charming vertebrates with flaky bodies that can twist into a ball when under danger. Pangolins can be discovered normally in Asia and Africa. In any case, these animals are dealt everywhere on the world since they are viewed as a delicacy. It makes you imagine that this entire calamity might have been evaded if individuals would simply disregard wild creatures. 01. A virus-detecting giant robot was roaming New York. In the event that you were in New York toward the beginning of February 2020, you may have gone over a sort straight out of Isaac Asimov's iRobot. This robotic paramedic was made by Promobot, a Pennsylvania-based organization. The droid was being tried in and around parks. Probably. The 152-centimeter tall, 5 feet 0 inches robot could screen for the COVID by meandering the roads inquiring as to whether they had fevers. In Bryant Park, the robot was immediately restricted for not having a grant. A few people who encountered the droid portrayed it as adorable. Others thought it was needless excess and dreadful. They clearly didn't realize that the bot can move to Pit Bell and sing Beatles tunes.